Hey, welcome back. We're back at it again. Last week we worked on the Chevelle. We flush mounted that windshield. That turned out great. But this week's not nearly as cool. We're going to be fixing. Yeah, it's a 77 Cutlass, I do believe. Folks say it's a Hurst-Olds, who knows, but I know the roof's rotten. So we're going to be fixing a lot of the rot. Well, inside this cowl area, I got to cut this out and fix it in there. There's rot up here. This thing had a Landau top. So guess what? There's rot in the back too. We're just going to patch her up and get her ready to roll. This isn't a custom car. It's just a car. But it's from New York, and these folks, the wife owned it since new. She's very, very particular about it. So we'll get it slicked back down for them so they can put it back together and have them a little cruiser. But I think we're going to start right here first. So I'm going to cut all this out. Underneath it actually has some holes right there, you can see. We'll patch all that and we'll get this put back in. Let me get some tools out and we'll get to work. So this is actually multiple layers of metal. I think I'm going to cut her right up here. Down. And then right through here. I think that'll get us everything we need. We'll start there. We'll take this piece out. We'll take all the spot welds out of it. Get that cap off, and then we'll see how much of that we can get into. As you can see, I got the outer piece off, came off no problem. We're going to keep it. We're going to put it back, clean it up and put it back. Then it has a brace in here. It's a thicker metal brace. So we're actually going to cut it beneath where I cut the other one, right down through here. That should give us enough access in here to clean all this up and repair what we got to repair. So we can put this back and then the cover back on it. We got her open now. This piece that we took out right here is in fine shape. We'll clean it up again before we put it in. As you can see, hole, 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 hole. That's supposed to be a hole, but it's a lot of rust around it. So we'll clean all the rust up and we'll figure out how big a patch we need. Weld that patch in. We can put a little E-coat on all this. That'll clean it up and help protect it. We're gonna have this car blasted, but they can't get in there to blast it anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow this out. I'll take the belt sander. I'm gonna come in here and clean this up. We'll see how big a patch we gotta make. We'll just go from there. Well, as y'all may be aware, look at my face. Holy moly. Anyways, as y'all may be aware, I have a hard time hitting the record button sometimes. Today might be one of those days. I did clean this up. Let's take a look. Cleaned up pretty good. That hole is supposed to be there, but there's a little bit of rot behind it. I don't know if you'll be able to tell or not, but I think I'm just going to try to weld those because they're pretty small. But here, we'll probably end up doing a whole patch for this whole section because it's thin. And then right here, it's thin, but that's where the weld was. And I ground through it, so we'll just weld that back. We should be good to go. This isn't a terribly complex repair. And then we'll clean these pieces up before we put them back in. We'll e-coat it all, and it'll be good. Went in there in the scrap pile, pulled this out, did a little bit of grinding and shaping, nothing crazy, so it'll lay in good. And it does. I'm going to mark around this. We'll cut that out, weld this in. Gonna fit in there pretty darn good, so we'll go ahead and grind this down, and I've got our welder running, put some tacks on it, get her welded in. It's all welded in, cleaned up. We don't have any pinholes or anything because it would leak. Back there I just welded it in. I left the hole for the screw, so that's good. Went ahead and cleaned up this piece and hung it in our paint booth. We'll shoot it with a little e-coat. Be in good shape. Get some of this e-coat in here. Pull this out of the paint booth. It's ready to go. We'll get it tacked in there. The top's out just a little bit. We'll use a hammer and a dolly, and we'll knock that back down once we get it going. The outer piece, I went ahead and cleaned it up and hung it in the paint booth. I'm going to spray it right quick. While it's drying, I'll be welding this in. Then we'll grind it down, and this should be pretty well ready to go then. We'll get that capped, and we'll have this wrapped up. Yeah, she looks good. So that next piece, this ground down really nice. The next piece lays so tight, you got to make sure that there's basically nothing in there. So this looks really good. Like I said, I'll hit it with the e-coat, and then we'll put the outer piece on it. I think it's dry. I'll have to check it. It's still in the paint booth. I got her put in here. I just put one clamp on it. I'm just trying to get it to see how it's going to fit again. It should be fine. But when you're doing it, let me show you something that you should look out for. Because this has a peak right here, you got to make sure that peak is right. Everything else you could kind of fudge and get away with, but you got to make sure that this peak and that peak line up. Otherwise, it will never quite look right. So I'm actually going to unclamp it here. I just did this to kind of show you. But when we lay this down, I'll put this where I want it. I'll tack it, and we'll work it. Boom, boom, boom. With a hammer and such till we get that to lay flat. And we'll just keep working the edges till we like it. No big deal. This is actually a really simple repair. But I can tell you, it would be intimidating if you had never done it before.
I finally got all that welded in. It took a little more effort than I wanted it to, but it's whatever. It's in there. Looks good enough. We'll grind it down when I come back, and that's pretty much. This will be done. Yeah, but boy, is there a lot up there. Got a little window. Yeah, she's rotten. Got her all ground down, looking nice. Went ahead and started cleaning out this. Yeah. So found another hole there. We knew about this big hole up here. Got a couple of holes there, but I had forgot about this too. I've spent a bunch of time on this car in the past, know a lot about it, but yeah, that's just great stuff foam. So I got to dig all that out all the way across before we do any welding, or we'll be on fire, and that's gonna be hard to put out. So I'm just gonna do it, and I'll bring y'all back when I'm done. I have a feeling it's gonna take a while. I might use the belt sander or some, but I think it's mostly just gonna be by hand with a screwdriver. Oh well, let me get to it. I'll probably go ahead and get all this too while I'm at it.
We're back at it this morning. So I dug all that foam out yesterday. It's nasty in there. It's bad. Let me show you what we ended up with. She is rough. Quite a bit of holes. Even more than I knew or thought about. As I was digging it out, I kept finding new spots. So they don't make a roof skin for this car. I don't know why, but the 73 to 77 G bodies, not very popular. They're gaining in popularity, but they ain't there yet. So, and there are just not many of them out there that are in good shape. I did find one. It's a couple hours away. I've messaged them on Messenger. Is on Marketplace or whatever. So if they message us back, we may end up just going down and cutting the roof off, because I can put a full skin on this. It is a hard top skin, a non-vinyl top hard top skin. So that'd be a good replacement for this one. Just cut out the holes. That ain't no big deal. But while we're waiting on them, hopefully to text us back today, there's plenty of other stuff to do. Let me show you what we're going to work on. So just like the front, she's really rusty. Somebody else has put a bunch of weld in this, and it's way past just welding a little hole. So we're going to fix as much of this as possible, get all this channel done on all the way around it, and even down in here there's a hole right there, and same here. So we'll try to get all this fixed. I've already fixed some on the other side. I put this piece in it out of another car. I made this piece because we didn't have one, and it all flows pretty good now. And I had repaired a bunch of other stuff up through here. I had all this lower section I had to build and put in. So it's fine now, but all this was rusted out. This thing is super rusty, or was. I've actually done a lot to it. I put both the quarters on it, trunk pan. The previous guy that was working on it put the floor pans in it. They're awful. We will have to fix that. I put the rear panel underneath this back seat. I put that in. Had to make brackets. That there's just nothing for these cars, so I had to make brackets for it. All kinds of craziness. So yeah, thought we'd just work on this other stuff. We'll see how it goes, and we'll go from there. Hopefully they call us with this roof, because boy, will that save a bunch of time. This roof is junk. I think I'm gonna start on this part right here. It's pretty thin right here, so I'll probably end up actually making a piece that covers all of that. Actually, I may go all the way back to here. It looks like somebody's put some effort into this in the past, but it's not correct. Like, that's definitely a weld. I don't know. We're gonna cut it out and make a piece, figure it out, but that's wrong already. Yeah, there's a good look at what was in there. That's just weld.
They just tried to weld up all the rust holes. You can't do that. You can see how much rust is back there. You might get away with it if you have a pinhole and you clean it out good. You might be all right, but when it's really rusty, this is what you get behind it. We're going to fix this rear structure too. Should be missing. So I'll make us a little patch here. We'll weld that in first, and we'll go from there. Yeah. Man. So sometimes when you're fixing rust, the more you pull out, the worse it gets. And this was that way. I just kept cutting until we found solid metal again. I can see the back side of it, and it looked fine, but as we went, it clearly is not. So let me show you this real close, and we'll get on to fixing the inner structure, and then we'll make an outer structure panel piece and put that in. And yeah, it's going to take a little while. Just do the things, I guess. As you can see, it's just rotted out all the way down through here. I can see the back of it pretty easily, and this over here had sealant on it, and I couldn't see it. But when I'd cut over to here and saw that, I was like, I better go further, and I found more. And then I was like, I better go further, so I found more. But now we're into solid material. I can see the back of this side good. It's just fine. So yeah, we'll have to make a piece. That one's not going to be a super easy one either, so let's just do it. Got us some cardboard type material here. That's what I've been using for templating. Yeah, we needed more of, that's right. I think that would be right. Something more like that. Trim that out and just see what it looks like. I got a piece cut out, fits real good. This front piece was missing quite a bit, but the outer piece follows that line just fine. Not that we'll be using that, but it does have the right contour here. So we don't need it to be quite that long because I have it tucked down in there. I'm just gonna know where to cut it there, which should be good. That won't quite get this bottom one, but on the inside I can see the metal's good below it, and I can get to the inside of it to weld that if I have to. Same back here, like this spot doesn't go any lower than that, and we're not going to quite cover it, but we can fill, because we can get to the back side and clean it up. When we weld that, it'll be fine. I'm gonna go make this out of metal, and I'll be back. This is nothing crazy. Got all this clamped in there. I took the outer piece just to make sure our profile matched, and we are, it's hard to tell in that picture video, but it's good. We're good. But we still got to have a bead roll around this because it steps out. As you can, I don't know if you'll be able to tell right there. So it just steps out, so that way the outer panel and the inner panel touch, and then there's a gap here. So I'm going to go get the template and actually cut it to where the outer edge of that needs to be, and then I can mark it on the piece I just made and roll that in, and then go in. It looks like not much, just a little bit. It may tip it enough when I do that to actually just put it in there. But we'll try that and keep working with it till we get it to where it fits nice. I made some marks. I made a reference mark right there so I knew where that edge was. I made a reference mark here so I knew where the bottom edge was. Same here for there, same there. I laid this up here where it goes, and I just took those reference lines and worked it out. So that'll work out just fine. I'm going to cut the inner part of this out. I think I'm going to actually remove the outer part, and we'll keep this part, and we'll put this on the metal, and then we can make a reference mark for that, and then I go run it through the bead roller. Bob's your uncle. I got this all trimmed out. Put it up here. It fits excellent. Probably hard to tell with my hand in the way, but fits excellent. And then I just brought it over to the piece of metal. Put it where it goes. Draw a line. Now we know where to tip it at. We'll just go in and run a bead across that. And that may be enough, just that, to run it through there to get what we need. Back here, if there was more material, we'd be better off. But we don't have it, so it'll be fine. But it's going to make it hard to go through that bead roller right there. So we may actually have to do that by hand. We'll see. But I'm just going to go in there and do that right quick. And that won't take but a few minutes. Take me longer to set up the bead roller than it will to roll this. Then we'll come back and see how it fits in this spot. And we'll start trimming out soon. Ran her through the bead roller. Got us a bead in there. It fits excellent. I am very happy with how it fits. Kind of rounded the edges off so it kind of fits in there a little better. I drew a line on the outside so I know where to cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. And after we get it cut out, we'll go ahead and grind this down. We'll weld it in. That inner lip I'll probably have to weld from the inside for part of it, or maybe all of it, I don't know. So I'm trying to keep as much of this roll right here in the body as I could. I didn't want to cut that out and have to recreate it. So if it's wrong, I think you'll notice it. Although a piece of trim actually sits there, you probably wouldn't notice it. But nonetheless, I want it to be as good as I can get it. Got all that cut out and trimmed in. She fits great. It's kind of friction fit sitting in there right now, but I'm gonna fire up the welder. Let's get this thing welded in, ground down. We can make this outer panel. I went ahead and skipped ahead a little bit, but I'm going to show you what I did to get here, so let's take a look. So once I got all that welding ground down and fitting good, I just made us a template that fit in here real nice. I actually made it longer because we have to bend this over. It hems over the edge here. Then I just went over and transferred that to a piece of metal. And then I took this and actually cut that to where it fit exactly like you just saw. Drew another line, ran it through the bead roller. It kind of got a little wonky right there, but it'll be fine. That way we have a nice broke edge, because we still have to fold that on over. That's really tough to do by hand without something already in place. But now that we've already got that first part of the break, we'll actually end up probably cutting it here, here, here. Might be one here, maybe none. I'm not really sure yet. We'll just see how it does when I start hemming it up. So the next thing is to test it, and it fits excellent. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this clamped down and welded right quick. It's almost lunchtime for me. I just want to try to get it welded in before lunch, and after lunch we'll come back and we'll hem that edge over and make that good and tight, and basically this repair is done after that. If you're thinking, Dave, I don't have a bead roller, how am I going to do that? You can do this with a hammer and dolly. It just takes forever. But a good hammer and dolly, or a vise and a good hammer, I do prefer. Let me show you. This is a cheaper hammer, but I call them a duck bill. You can just set yourself a little divot in your vise and then just all the way through there, and then you got a little line to follow. It's that easy. So it doesn't take a fancy bead roller, but it sure makes it quicker, and it looks really good. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up right quick and ready to weld, and we'll just go ahead and get this welded in and ground down. And then after we come back from lunch, I might do it before then, who knows, but we'll go ahead and hem that up, and then this patch is done. You know, we'll just find more rust. That's not hard to do. There she is. She's looking real good. Feels good. That's going to be fine. All this is good. I went and cut a couple of reliefs there and one there. I'm going to go ahead and just bend this over. Just a hammer and a dolly, nothing crazy. And we'll just tap, tap, tap until we get it all the way around and bent where we like it. That's it. That'll be the end of that repair. Whoo, there she is. She looks good. I'm real happy with that. Cleaned up nice. The hem looks good. See if y'all can see the inside. That's a little tougher to see. But it looks the same inside and out, just like it's supposed to. I'd actually done the other side on the other window. So the next thing we're actually going to do is put some rivets back on. So these hold the trim, and I marked them where they go. We get two here, one there, and one right there. We'll go ahead and pop these guys on there. I'll mark where they go right below and beside. That way we can get them welded on. You just use your stud gun welder, and they fit right in the end. And when it presses in, it just welds it right there. Works real easy. If you're wondering what they're called, Magna trim rivets is what these are. I think we order them from Jegs Summit, Amazon. I don't really know. You'd have to find them. We've had them for months and months and months. I bought them for this car, and yeah, this is going to need a bunch. These all the ones on the other side. I cut all of them off already, so we'll put these three on it. I may go ahead and pop over and do the other side right quick, just so they're finished too while we got it all out. I think we'll move on to these. Both these are really bad. It's rusted here and here, and it is pitted, but it's real strong, so that'll be good. So we'll just end up doing a patch here, and this is real pitted around that one. We'll do a patch, and then we'll have to put those studs back too. Yeah. The lady with the car that I'd found, it's a couple hours away, talked to them. They're not willing to let us cut the top off of it, and they already went over $1,000 for a car that's set in the woods for 30 years. So I told her if you get $1,000, you should break their arm trying to get it. So nonetheless, we'll get back to this, and yeah, wrap this portion up anyways. We're getting late in the day. I'm almost done. Made us a template. I kind of marked out where everything goes for the other side. I understand that it's inverse on the other side, but I'll show you what we're going to do. It's simple. Nothing crazy here. I got it all laid out over here. We had 2 studs up here to go by already. And then we had this part down here. So I got it all laid in. I had marked on the back side of these kind of where they laid. That way when you lay them down in there, they end at the end of the quarter. So all that laid out good. I went ahead and put in some reference marks on the metal so we know kind of where to put the new studs. I'm going to pull all this off, throw it away, and then we'll put the studs on right quick. And boom. We got them all on there. I had a little bit of problem out of that one. There was still too much surface rust, so I had to hit it with a grinder. And this one back here, I held too long and melted it. So I had to knock it back off and try again. But yeah, they're all in good. You can hit them and they don't come off. So these are an excellent alternative to putting the trim clips back on. People use the screws that have a little bit of sealant on them. They're gonna leak. It's just a matter of time. This won't leak. So anyways, we have all those back on. I think I might, it's late. I might try to cut a patch or 2 out. We'll see. Nonetheless, I'm probably just gonna do that, and I'll catch you up in the morning.
I'm back at it again this morning. I've actually already done a few things. Let's go check it out. I went ahead and got that one filled yesterday, filled this one today. Still got to put studs back. That's nothing. I think we're going to tackle this. It's really not that bad. We got a hole here, we got a hole there, and they tried to weld this. And that's rough, and this is rough. So I think I'm going to have to cut it down and around. We'll start with cleaning it up, though. We'll see where we can go from there. In case you're curious, this is one of the pieces we had from when we flush mounted the glass on the Chevelle. Just some scrap we had. So thought I'd put it to use. I'll get it to fit in here. Pretty good. Don't need it to be quite this long, so let's cut her right there. We'll do the same thing right here. It's one of the clip studs right there and right there. I'm gonna grind those off because they're in the way. We'll take this in there and put it on the vise and just put a little bit of bend in that. So my little template here, I put an arrow, and that's a plus sign. That way I know to add that to make it a corner. I'm just going to go draw that out on some steel. I'll be right back. I'll get it cut. Got this piece cut out. Looks like it can fit really good. I'm going to go ahead and lay this on there and mark it.
We'll cut those off, tack this in place, fit it. If it's still fitting good, we'll be to the point that we could actually make the inner piece and weld it together before we cut all of it off. It's a pretty complex piece, but I like to put it in one piece if I possibly could. Got her all cut out. Got it fitted where it fits real nice. Got the mill scale off of it. That's really hot. But nonetheless, I'm going to clear this off and we'll put a few tacks on this, maybe 5 or 6 tacks. Get it where we like it. If it lays in there good and it does good, I may go ahead and trim it up a little better to where it fits as good as we can get it. Mark and cut the outside and just get this to where it fits real nice. And then when it's out, then we can build that inner structure, the inner piece, and then weld them together and then put it in as one. Fits pretty darn good. Got her fitting really good again. I ground it down and had to do some hammer work again. You know, that happens when you weld it and it gets hot and shrinks, whatever. We got it back. I'm going to trim it down. It doesn't need to be this big. I just had it this big to work with. And I'm actually going to cut that a little flatter too. But I drew us a line. I'm just going to take it and cut it. We'll come back, fit it one more time, mark a line on the metal on the car. I think we'll cut a piece of that out and we'll make that inner structure and we'll that goes in here. We'll those two together and we'll put that all in one piece and we'll be good to go. I went ahead and just relief cut it for this piece and got it in there. It fits excellent. I'm super, super happy with how it fits. I'm going to grind just a little bit and just tack. Get all that tacked together so it'll hold its shape. And I think I'm going to go ahead and actually cut that bottom side out. I'll cut the top and bottom, but I think I'm going to put the bottom in first. I had originally wanted to put it all together and put it in as one piece, but the more I look at it, the more I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and tack all this together and get it ground down and ready to go in. Then we'll come in and cut all this out, clean it up, weld that bottom in, and then cap it. There'll be some height grinding. As you can see, this comes way up, this goes way down, so I have to cut them both, but yeah, we're on our way. That ain't gonna be bad at all. After a lot of fitting and test fitting and shaping, we are finally looking good. And this is all just sitting in here. None of it's welded. So I think the next thing I'm going to actually do is drill me 3 holes in this bottom piece down here. One in the middle and one at the top. Way we can attach this. Once this is bottom piece is attached, we'll start getting this ready to weld here. I have a secret. I made a giant gap. That was an accident. I'm just going to weld it. It'll be fine. And as a matter of fact, I've actually been underneath this and looked at it. Where this is all rusted from the outside, I think we can actually weld this and it'll be okay. Same here. I'm going to run a drill bit or something through that just to clean the edges up a little bit. But it's actually super thick. And the bottom side, there's nothing else. It's just where it rusted through from the top. So I am going to hit those with just a welder and we'll grind that out. There's no point in putting a patch in for no bigger than those holes are. But let's get these 3 holes drilled. We'll get that bottom piece in, get this top piece in, and we're moving forward. This has been a heck of a patch. I want it to fit as good as we can. It gets a Landau top, like I said, which is like the vinyl top. And this one is like that thick. They're ridiculous. It's like a pillow top mattress on top of your car. But nonetheless, I still want the metal to be as good as it can be. I've been doing this a while, but every time I make a new piece, I get a little better and a little better. So I try to make every piece I'm doing better than the last one I did. Got our holes drilled. Thought we'd put some of this key coat on it. Wasn't terrible in there. And you can get the part of it from the other side, but couldn't hurt. I probably should have done the opera window when I did it too. But I didn't, guess what? Ain't no taking it apart to fix that. Now that the E-coat's dry, I put this in here. We missed. That hits nothing, but I can weld it from this back side since it's top and in. I'm just going to put a weld here, and a weld here. I'll weld that up. Then we'll have a weld here, here, of course at the edge, and we'll be good. Then I've already test fit this again, and it fits as well as it did before. So I can fiddle with it until I get it fit in there real good, and then we'll weld it all in too. Let's just get to work.
I didn't get as far as I wanted to get yesterday. That piece we put in was complex. It took a lot of time to get it right, but let's look at it. Yeah, it looks great. I am very happy with the repairs there. Looks just like it's supposed to. And I went ahead and put the rivets back in. I got the rivets back in over here. For the trim clips, next thing I've got is this area. I'm going to cut this out and replace it like I did this, but it doesn't have this crazy curve, so it shouldn't be bad. And I'm probably not going to go do the bottom. The bottom's good. It's just that corner. I'm just going to jump on that right quick and just knock it out. I think I can do it in a few hours and just knock it out. Then we got to pull this car off the frame and get it on a rotisserie. I'd like to either do that today or tomorrow. Fixing this roof will be a lot easier if it's on the rotisserie and I can just slide it sideways and work on it and not have to climb up in here and stuff. It'll be awful. So, but I'm going to jump on this. I'm just going to knock this out right quick. This shouldn't take us long, and we'll get back to either fixing some more rust if I find any more, or getting this thing off the frame.
I've spent all day on this. I knew it would take forever. It's not good content. It's just more of me replacing these little things. So let me show you where we're at, and we'll kind of go from there. Today's pretty much done though. Well, it's been forever since I actually started recording and told you, hey, I'm going to fix this. So let me show you what's. So I managed to fix this, but man, was it a absolute pain. So I cut this piece out. This was oil canning before. Oil canned even worse. Welded it all back in, got it good. Ended up having to cut this to take the oil canning out. It's good and strong now, so it can be body work because it was going to need it anyways. I came through here and there were several spots that were kind of thin. I just ground them out and welded them back. They're like this. So you see how this is the piece that we cut out. There's no rust on the back side. It all rusted from the top. So if you grind all that out, you can kind of just fill the holes. They were trying to do that when they were fixed it before, but they weren't very good at it. So yeah, theirs didn't work. Then I came over here, I filled a few holes. There was like 3 through here, I think, on the edge. Got those fixed. I'd already replaced this before. This was a pain. As you can see, that's a different color. This was cut out of this car all the way to here. Didn't have a quarter on it when I got here. It's been a mess. But it's, you know, can't buy parts for this car, so, or not many of them. So I ended up putting in a patch up here too. I didn't feel like recording all this today. I just wanted to bang it all out and to get it done. It's not much to see. I mean, it's just little patches and me welding. It wasn't much to see. I thought it'd be easier this way. I gotta get the doors out of it. Those things are so heavy. So I'm gonna do that and get them put up. If I have time after that, I'm going to pull the body bolts out of it. This thing will be ready to go on the rotisserie. We'll see how that goes, though. We got the doors out of this. I just thought I'd show you the all the foam I dug out. Forgot to do this early. This was just what was left underneath the doors. I'd swept most of it up, but look in here. I did get it all out. What a mess.
Well, it's the next morning. I'm going to do a little bit of a shop update, and we'll do that right quick. There's some craziness happening on that roof behind me. Well, you'll see that in the next video. We're just going to fix this roof in the next video. But, yeah, it looks weird back there, doesn't it? Corey's in here getting ready to weld his exhaust. He's about got that thing wrapped up. He'll be headed to UMI this weekend that you're seeing this. So, I don't know if that's televised, but you can probably see it. He's been working on this cab for the F100 or F1, whatever this thing is. He built a custom tunnel for it, ran it through the B-roll or the English wheel, got a good shape in it. He's built this entire floor, built the side panels on both sides. So the cab of this thing is actually structurally sound finally. He's built some custom aluminum like washers or whatever for body mounts. They work out really nice. So this thing's coming closer and closer. I think he's gonna be building the floor soon. Then we'll cut the firewall out and build a custom firewall. Nothing's changed about the Dodge except for there's Ford parts laying on top of it. So there's your update on the Dodge. I think this thing will be coming up probably in the next few weeks to get some work done. Maybe a month and a half, I don't know. It's not far from seeing its day in the sun. You can tell Corey's seriously a fabricator now. He's got his TIG welder out.
OSHA Crocs.
He's got his OSHA Crocs on too. It's like a 72 Camaro. He actually restored this car and it was just a really nice driver, and then he decided, I want to go race. So, yeah, he built a motor. He's done a bunch of stuff to it. It's got a 3-link. He's putting exhaust in it, you know, under the axle because it's race car. And he's going with just a MagnaFlow muffler out back. He's trying to wake it up a little bit more. You know, you're always trying to get more out of them. But it's a triple disc clutch. He's got to get that in, finish bleeding the clutch. I think he's good to go there. But he's running like 315 squared on this thing. All the way around. Instead of Willwoods up front. I think out back too. These tires just about had their last passes. If I catch him driving it or pulling it out later, we'll try to get some video of that too, and I'll show you the interior. But yeah, it's a good looking car. Fiberglass front end, fiberglass doors, you know, race car stuff. It's got a here's the clutch he pulled out. He put a disc in it last year just to get through the year, but look how hot that thing got. That's what you get at 8,500 RPMs. Just, you know, dropping a clutch every gear if you're trying to switch them. So, Chevelle, we did a video last week on it, flush mounted the windshield. That was the last thing we did, so you might want to go back and check that video out. It's pretty awesome. We still got the back window to go on it, but it is here. It's in that box. Bronco. Y'all have never seen the Bronco, but we're going to look at it. The Bronco is definitely getting close to leaving. Maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and it'll be out of here. We're not finishing it. They're not putting interior or anything in it, but the whole thing's painted. But I hadn't showed it to y'all yet because it's awesome. But at one point, when I was going to show it, the wire was everywhere. It's still kind of everywhere, but let's go look at it, and I'll show you and give you an update on it. You've never seen it, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. This thing is custom. It's a crawler's edge frame, brand new 5-liter Ford motor, Coyote. It has got a standalone Ford ECU and wiring harness deal. So it is all Ford. So it should be, you know, good. It's got an automatic transmission. I don't know enough about Ford to tell you which one. Corey's just about got all this wiring wrapped up. When I was going to show it to you last time, you couldn't even like sit in here. There was too much stuff. All that over there is just power leads. So he's getting there. So this thing is actually going to be loaded with tech. The hood is operated by actuators. The rear tail light folds down. That's where you put the fuel in. The tailgate's actuated, has actuators. He custom built all this, pushed the engine, basically, it looks like it's further back in the Bronco than it really is, but that was just to gain some more foot room up front. There's not much in these, and he left an access panel because you'd have to have it if you were actually going to have to, you know, do anything back here. You couldn't reach it. So he put in an access panel. Yeah, it's come a long way. He's got a lot to do yet, but yeah, it won't be long. And oh yeah, it's got the power running boards that go up and down. I'm not really a Ford guy or an off-road guy, but it looks cool. All the AC stuff's all hidden and plumbed inside the fenders. Running it through bulkheads. That way it'll be nice and clean on the engine compartment. You can see the actuators actually live inside these pockets, and it lifts the hood. The hood's super cool, but it's covered up right now. He's done done something really cool with it. At some point I'll show you that when we get it out, but I ain't uncovering it. That fender is cut and ready to buff, I think. That one is. Here's the doors and the and the tailgate. I think they're all cut too. Yeah, so they'll be ready to buff those soon. Grill and pieces that go with it. Still got a few pieces of paint. Nothing crazy though. That's probably, you know, like 2 hours worth of painting. It'll take you longer to get all that ready to go than it will to actually paint, but that's got to be done. It's really not going to take long, and that'll be wrapped up. The Firebird that I did a couple of weeks ago, it's just rotated out. Let that guy get some more money. We got to finish it up, but it's just not time yet. So that's kind of wrapping this up. I'm going to stop this video here. Next video, we're back on that Oldsmobile, and we're going to fix that roof. If you saw a lack of enthusiasm in me in this car, it was there. I just, I don't know. I just don't have any enthusiasm for it. So nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next video.